Good evening. Tonight we will be discussing all of our picks for UFC 103. This card is going to be at the Apex, and unfortunately, we have lost two of our fights. The two fights that we lost were Del Rosa versus Carolina, and then we also lost a fight that I was using as a parlay piece, John Castaneda. Originally, I was gonna that was gonna be my favorite parlay, was using John Castaneda's fight to start the third round, but unfortunately we've lost that one also. So now we are down to a 10 fight card, which isn't the best, but we're gonna make it work. So let's get into this card real quick. The first fight of the night, and why it's the first fight, I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, it could be one of the bangers of the night, in my opinion. That's Charles Johnson versus Razan Temirov. Temirov is 1-0 in the UFC. Johnson's only 6-4, but he has won 4 in a row. And he's had 4 fights in the last year. He's been very active. It seems like he's really taken his craft really serious now. So I'm liking Johnson in this fight. I do not have him as one of my best bets, but he would be like the next one that I'd be considering taking. I really like him to win this fight. He should have a huge reach advantage in this matchup. I believe it's like a 7-inch reach advantage. I think he's going to be able to be the better striker from range. So my pick is Johnson, and I would lean Johnson by decision. I definitely don't see Johnson getting finished, but I could see a late finish on behalf of Johnson. Now, the second fight of the night is going to be a banger here, guys. Andrea Lee versus JJ Aldrich. Yeah, you can go take a nap during this one if you'd like to, but here we are. Now, I'm not as down on Andrea Lee as everybody else is. She's lost 5 in a row, but she's lost a couple decent ones. She lost to Macy Barber. I believe she lost to Suarez also. I may be incorrect on that one there, but I believe she has actually fought the better competition. She's hasn't been finished since she's been in the UFC. I don't see her getting finished tomorrow. So I'm going to be using Fight to Go the Distance as a parlay piece. It's still gross odds at a minus 450, but I'm still going to be using it. And I see this more as a 50-50 fight. I think Aldrich is probably going to be this little bit better of a striker. And the question is, will either fighter try and wrestle at all? That's where it could get a little dicey. But so I also do not mind if you can find a book that has fight to end by split decision. Last I knew, the odds were in the plus 300 range, which aren't great, but it's pretty solid. So that's what I would lean towards. Or if you want to put a dabble on Andrea Lee plus 3.5, I believe it's a minus 190, or a decision prop, which is closer to a plus 250. So that would be those are just leans. Those are not picks. I'm not putting any money on this fight at all. If I do anything, it would be $5 on fight to end by split decision. So now we move on to the next fight, which is Danny Silva versus Lucas Alameda. I think Silva is going to be the winner, or the minute winner on the feet and on the ground if it goes there. Yeah, and he also has great cardio to go all 3 rounds. I think I think Silva is my pick. He's a minus 190. I actually like the fight to go the distance at a plus 120. That's going to be one of my singles that I'll be showing at the end. And also, I've got a little two-piece parlay, and it is Danny Silva money line and over 1.5 rounds at a plus 115. That one I like a lot. I'm also going to be using start second round as a parlay piece. So I really like Danny Silva in this fight and in this spot. My next fight is going to be Ricardo Ramos versus Chepe Mariscal. And Chepe is undefeated in the UFC at 4-0. And you know what they say, the O's got to go, but not this time. Not at all. I think Mariscal takes care of business here. He's a big favorite for a reason. Ramos is undisciplined. His fighting IQ is not the best. His decision making is not the best, which goes along with his fighting IQ. Mariscal is just going to outdog him. I think as the fight gets deeper, he's going to take over. And I see Mariscal possibly with a late KO, but I'm using him as KO/decision in a parlay piece. And then our next fight is going to be a couple sloppy heavyweights. Actually, they're not very. Actually, the one guy's not very sloppy at all. Austin Lane versus Mario Pinto. This is Mario Pinto's UFC debut. If you watch the Contender Series, he was on the Contender Series. This is as close to a setup fight, in my opinion, as you can get. I will never take Austin Lane. Anyone that gets knocked out by Greg Hardy probably doesn't even deserve to be in the UFC. He seems to be one of these fighters that the UFC likes to use just for a prospect to beat up on them. So I really like Pinto. I've also used him as a parlay piece also by KO/decision. I do see him getting a knockout. At what point? I don't know. I mean, it could be first round or second round. One interesting play that you could make is on FanDuel, a second round KO at a plus 430. That's not a bad one to put a couple bucks on. Or even if you want to use it as a Hail Mary parlay piece. And then my next fight is going to be Danny Barlow versus Sam Patterson. Danny Barlow is 2-0 in the UFC. I think he's now up to like a minus 310 favorite. I don't know as if he should be that big of a favorite. I do lean for him to win. He's going to be way better on the feet. But if Sam Patterson decides to wrestle, which I believe that's his only path to victory, and if he realizes that and knows that going in, then I'm hoping to find a Sam Patterson takedown prop. It was there on DraftKings first thing this morning at a plus 130, but it's now long gone. I can't find it anywhere. So I'm hoping it comes back, but I'm afraid if it comes back, it's not going to be a plus 130 anymore. Probably not. So if anyone out there finds a takedown prop, please let me know where you find it at. And I want to gobble that up as fast as I can. Because even in a loss, I can see Patterson getting at least one takedown. And I would like to sprinkle on two also if I can. So, but I do lean Barlow to get the win by either knockout or decision. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But there is a pathway for Patterson to win this, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So the next fight is going to be Hyder Emil versus William Gomez. And in this fight here, Gomez is about as boring as they get. He's going to be a low volume striker. So I'm not very high on taking him at a minus, I think it's a minus 290 or somewhere's around there. And Emil's going to fight for your money, you know, and he's going to be a fun fighter to watch. You know, he'll run through about any fighter you put out there. Um, you know, he's going to be fairly high volume on striking, and he can put together some pretty nasty combinations also. So on this fight here, it's going to be dog or pass for me. I don't have an official wager on this bout. I'm just going to enjoy this one and see if O'Neal can pull it out. And then my next fight is actually going to be Hashbarat versus Esteban Ribovics. And I've got Ribovics in this fight. I think he's going to be more powerful. I think he's going to be the better striker. I think this fight stays standing. He's a minus 260 right now. I've got him as a parlay piece, and I'm just going to leave him as a parlay piece. I don't have any single wagers on him, but I do like him to win, and he could get a late finish, but I'm not counting on it. So that's why he's also just a parlay piece for me. And then on to our co-main event, which has no business being a co-main event, to be honest. I mean, this is crazy. We got Cody, I don't trust you, Brundage, versus Julian, I don't trust you, Marquez. I don't trust either one of these fighters. Marquez has been knocked out 3 times in a row, and Brundage has had a no contest by strikes to the back of the head. He's gotten a lucky ass win with strikes to the back of the head that he was getting his ass beat in. And I mean, but he's got a pathway to victory in this one if he wrestles. I mean, come on, Cody, let's wrestle a little bit here. Come on, let's go. Because two takedowns for him is a plus 240. I mean, I got to put a sprinkle on it. 1 takedown's like a minus 175. I was tempted to use that as a parlay piece, maybe with, you know, Pinto money line or something that's like a minus 400 or so to make it as close to even money as I can. I mean, I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet, but I am definitely doing 2 takedowns at a plus 240, just a sprinkle though. And I am going to do Cody Brundage inside the distance plus 150. Another interesting wager that you could make on DraftKings, and it would take the winner out of it, would be the fight to go over a half a round, which, I mean, it could be a little scary, but, and then the fight to stay under 2.5 rounds. And if you combine that together in the same game parlay, that's a minus 125. That's not too bad. So I am leaning Brundage, but I mean, if I end up doing Brundage inside the distance, it's going to be a half a unit at the most. I'm not going to really put too much of my hard-earned money on Cody. I don't really trust either one, but I do lean Cody to get the win. And on the money line, he's still a plus 100. So on to our main event fight. We have Manel Kape versus Asu Elmabayev. This is striker versus grappler 100%. This is one instance where Almabayev is 4-0 in the UFC, and I think it's time for that O to go. I think he's going to end up with a loss, but I do see some early success, or at least some success. I don't know how much, because I don't know if he'll be able to keep Manel Kopp down if he gets him down. I think Manel Kopp's going to find his way back to defeat, even if he does get him down. But one thing that I do like is Almabayev over 1.5 takedowns, but it's very juicy at a minus 175. Now you can get 3+ at a plus 150. That's not a bad one. I could see him getting 2 in the first round and another one in the second round. And then possibly after that, Manel Kopp stuff the rest of them. I think as the fight wears on, I think Manel Kopp is going to take over. He's definitely the better striker. But I don't see either fighter getting finished. So I'm going to be taking the over 2.5 as a parlay piece. And I also don't mind fight to go the distance at a minus 150. And my lean is Manel Kopp to win by decision. That's how I think it's going to go down. But I do think it's going to be a close fight. So I'm not going to be putting any money on that. But that is my lean. So that's my breakdown of UFC 103. We only got 10 fights. Now I'm going to pull up my singles that I've got going on. And here they are. In which I've already talked about a bunch of these, but I wanted to pull them up at the end just so that they're there for you to see at the end of the video. And it is Cody Brundage inside the distance at a plus 150. Then I've got 2+ takedowns at a plus 240 and 3+ at a plus 900. The 3+, I mean, I won't put more than a quarter of a unit on it. The 2+, I'll probably put a half a unit on it. Asu Almabayev, 2+ takedowns at a minus 175. That's a solid parlay piece. You could even parlay that with 1 takedown for Cody Brundage, which is also a minus 175, and get yourself plus money. Then 2 takedowns, or excuse me, that's a misprint, sorry. It's 3+ takedowns at a plus 150 for Almabayev. Then, like I've already discussed, Danny Silva fight to go the distance at a plus 120. And the one single that I really want to find, because I think it's, I'm not going to say it's a lock, but I mean, if he's smart, that's what he's going to try and do. And that's a Sam Patterson takedown prop. I'm hoping it comes back out at plus money, but I guess time will tell. And I mean, just hopefully it does, you know. And then I've got, here are my parlays. I had to make an adjustment. My favorite parlay originally was this one right up here. I'll show it to you real quick. My favorite parlay was this one here. Oh, nope, sorry. It was this one here. It was Lee fight to go the distance, Castaneda to start round 3, and Manel Kopp over 2.5. That was like a plus 105 that I had like 2.5 units on it. Now it's a minus 175. So that one I got to eat and just hope that it comes through. Now I've got these other parlays I've got going on. So I've got Andrea Lee versus Aldrich, fight to go the distance. Then I've got Danny Silva versus Lucas Alameda, fight to start second round. Manel Kopp versus Uza Almabayev over 2.5 rounds at a plus 103. That one I really like a lot. That's going to be my replacement for my best bet. Then my next parlay is going to be Chepe Mariscal to win by KO or decision, Mario Pinto to also win by KO or decision, and Esteban Ribovics on the money line at a plus 150. If this one comes down to the last fight, then you can put a half a unit on the other side and still guarantee yourself a unit either way. And then we've got the one fight I've already talked about, Danny Silva money line and over 1.5 rounds at a plus 115. Sorry if it looks like I'm disengaging myself a little bit. My little one just walked down and she's dying to get in the camera. But those are my picks for UFC 103. I hope everybody catches some tickets and have a great night.